Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. On tonight's Versus, we have the Battle of the Rye Whiskeys. Jim Beam pre-prohibition rye whiskey coming in at a 45% ABV, no official age statement, versus Jack Daniel's Tennessee rye whiskey coming in at a 45% ABV, no official age statement. So to be honest, both of these are fairly in that budget range. And I wanted to put them up against each other because while we really don't know a mash bill on the Jim Beam, we do know contains like 70% rye. But if I remember right, I really enjoyed this one when I reviewed it. And I thought this one was pretty solid too, but I think I like this one better. But it's been a while. So I thought, what better way to kind of revisit these than to put them up against each other? Because if you're getting into rye whiskey, you might see these on the shelf, especially because of their more budget-friendly pricing. Or maybe you're just looking for a good solid rye for a Manhattan, and I'm hoping to help you out here. So as always, we're going to be talking about color, notes, taste, market price section, and pick a winner. So let's get into it. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, pull up a chair and hang around for a bit. Let me know what you're drinking down in the comment section. And if you're interested in individual reviews over these, they will be linked up above and down below, so you can check those out afterwards. Don't know when I posted them, or if they're even live. I've done so many reviews over the course of my time here. It all gets muddy. But surprisingly, this one is not as common in a lot of markets. I did notice that when I was doing some searching around. I mean, color-wise, very similar, but the Jack Daniel's is a bit darker. And of course, the Jack Daniel's does go through the charcoal mellowing process that Jack Daniel's is known for. Running it right through the charcoal itself, the Lincoln County process. So, let's go for notes on the Jim Beam. And see, that's just got a nice light rye note to it. It's not really herbal or medicinal, which is what a lot of people think of when they have rye whiskey. But it's got a nice little light layer of spice going on. Nice oak layer, a little charriness going on as well. The spice in here is very subtle, very inviting, but you get that rye spiciness. I'm getting more of that like rye bread spiciness going on here, so it's got kind of an earthiness with it. A little bit of red apple going on as well, a little sweet. But honestly, there's nothing harsh, no ABV, no off notes. It's just a nice, simple, different take on what most people think of when it comes to rye whiskey. All right, let's go for the Jack Daniel's rye. And honestly, this is almost transparent now for me. I'm going to let it open up here a little bit more, but it is very soft on the nose. A little bit of vanilla sweet. Get a little bit of that Jack Daniel's note, that little bit of the mapleness going on. Maybe a little bit of that banana bread note. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm starting to find them. But the spice in here is very subtle. It's not super heavy, it's not herbal, it's not medicinal, it's not even a floralness to it. But a little bit of cinnamon in there, and just a nice, easy-going nose. No ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. And as you keep going back, you do get a little bit more grain going on. Not like a youth grain note, but that grain rye spice. Nice simple nose on that too. All right, let's go for taste on the Jim Beam. And honestly, it's got that Jim Beam profile, that nuttiness, the little bit of rye spice kind of showing up as well. A little sweet, a little charry, a little oak, vanilla caramel going in there. Almost like my brain is wanting to say like a cappuccino, where it's nice and simple, but there is some complexity once you start getting back on those layers. So it's got a bit of earthiness. For me, again, it's got that almost a little bit of coffee note going on. It's nice. It's really easy sipping too. Now, I will say that bit of nuttiness will turn some people off. If you're not a big fan of that, you're going to find it here. And that's why a lot of people feel like this one is just that legal definition of a rye whiskey, coming in like at 51%. And the rest of it's probably their standard mash bill for a lot of things. But honestly, if you're not a big fan of MGP's rye, where it's at 95% rye, 5% malted barley, that herbal, medicinal, even dill notes coming out, this is definitely going more straight up home plate of a good solid bourbon, but a little bit more rye into it. And there's still nothing harsh, no off notes, no ABV on the taste. It's just a good sipping whiskey, to be frank. All right, let's go for taste on the Jack Daniels. And honestly, that's a really good sip. The rye shows up a little bit more on the Jack Daniels. It's got a little more herbal, a little medicinal, but you're still getting kind of that classic Jack Daniels going on. Little maple sweetness in there, a little bit of banana bread going on. But in my opinion, the rye shows up more on the Jack Daniels than the Jim Beam. That charcoal mellowing does, in my opinion, probably going to strip away some of that rye note going on. But this is pretty good too. Second sip here, getting a lot of similar notes, getting a little bit of that cinnamon, kind of a dry cinnamon note, but definitely you're getting that nice herbal, medicinal, simple profile to it. Still nothing off, no ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. But kind of like how this brings across the Jim Beam nuttiness, this is bringing across the Jack Daniels maple and banana notes that some people love or hate. I still think it's a really good sip. Both of them are really solid. But with that all in mind, let's talk about market price, because we all know market price is market price, and it's always going to vary. The Jim Beam Rye, I picked it up for like $20 or so, and it seems like most markets float it between $25 and less, with very few going above that. The Jack Daniels, however, tends to float in that 25, with it sometimes going up a little bit higher. Now, if I'm basing this upon it being a rye whiskey, the Jack Daniels wins it. I like the Jack Daniels bringing across a little bit more of the herbal medicinal of what I want from a rye whiskey. But if you're getting into rye for the first time, both are really good options for being budget friendly. This, again, you're going to have to like that Jim Beam profile, but it brings across very subtle rye notes. Where this, you're going to have to love that Jack Daniels profile, but it brings across more of those rye notes. And for $25, I don't think this is a bad drink. I think it's pretty solid. And even for $20, I think this is a solid sip as well. Would I pay $30 for this one? Probably not. When you're getting up into those prices, I think there's some better rye whiskeys that we'll go over at some point in time that are maybe a little bit better profile than the Jack Daniels. Same thing over here. If this is almost 25 to 30, I would still jump over to here for my next bottle. But there's some other rye whiskeys in that territory that I would kind of recommend over that if this is $30. But either way, I don't think you can go wrong, especially if you're looking for a mixer option. They're going to be good, solid ones. Just to understand, in my opinion, I think the Jack Daniels brings across more of what you're looking for in a rye whiskey. But yeah, there you have it, folks. The battle of the rye whiskeys, Jim Beam's pre-prohibition rye and Jack Daniels Tennessee rye whiskey. If you have questions about either bottle, go and let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any bottles I should put up against each other, also let me know down in the comment section below. I love doing these A/B comparisons. Helps me learn, helps you make a smart decision with your money as well. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I even like it might not.